Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today on the bench I have a pocket watch that's been sitting in my bench for the past 2 years now. I've finally found the parts needed to fix it, as well as some information on the movement that I've been missing. Taking a look at the case, it's a gold-filled hunter style with some beautiful engravings. The gold has worn through in some areas, so this watch was worn quite regularly throughout its life. The dial has been significantly damaged. This was specifically caused by force on the dial feet, which cracked the porcelain above them. Both the minute and seconds hand are missing. I've found a suitable replacement pair for the hour and minute hand, so I'll be replacing all three. I'll also be replacing the dial with a relatively undamaged spare that I have. Interestingly, the case is simply marked Criterion 14K. Almost all gold-filled cases are marked either gold-filled or with an X amount of years guarantee. Here's the movement, an 18-size 16-jewel movement produced by Albin Borkin for the Gallet watch company in the early 1880s. I think everyone involved in horology has a Grail watch, and as far as pocket watches go, this one is mine. These are commonly misidentified as unbranded Agassi movements, which, given the level of finish and decoration, is understandable. But the lyre hallmark between the crown and second wheel, as well as the initials JG, standing for Julian Gallet, under the balance cock unmistakably identify this as a Gallet movement. There are also surviving examples of advertisements from 1881 and 1883 identifying this as a product of the Gallet company. To start the service, the click screw is missing. It was actually sheared off and stuck in the plate, but I was thankfully able to remove it with hardly any damage. If my memory serves me correctly, the third wheel's base plate jewel is also cracked. This was the hardest part to find, as I wanted to replace it with a period-correct jewel without having to modify anything. Other than that, the only things I'm expecting to replace are the mainspring and dial retaining screws, but I won't know for sure until I fully inspect the parts. I'll remove the balance now. The last thing I want is a damaged staff, as I'd have to fabricate that from scratch. As always, I'm using a blunted screwdriver to pry the plates apart. This helps prevent damage to the plating. Both the hairspring and the balance pivots are in remarkable condition. The pivots even still have a slight dome to them. Here you can see the full extent of damage to the dial. Here are the keyless works. The set lever is missing its spring, and the clutch lever has clearly been replaced. It's quite a poor fit, so I'm going to try and source a correct one. If not, I'll modify this one to fit better. The hour and intermediate wheels look really good. This is something I really like to see. This intermediate wheel post isn't part of the base plate, it's just a friction fit steel post, so if this ever gets worn out or damaged, it'll be very easy to fabricate a new one and replace it. The minute hand post is friction fit. You can use the flat end of your tweezers like this to press it out. The canon pinion is held in by that post as well. It's important to inspect the dial side bushing on the second wheel for any wear or play. There's a small amount, so I'll close that hole up a tiny bit. I'll remove the set lever now. Next, I'll remove the retaining plate for this intermediate wheel as well as the wheel itself. Now I'll remove the clutch lever. The sliding pinion is incredibly loose. I'll have to see what's going on there later. Here you can see the JG initials I was referencing earlier. Under this plate here is Albin Borkin's signature. I'll remove the pallet fork now. This is what's called a balanced pallet fork. Initially they thought an equally balanced pallet fork would improve performance, but in reality it does nothing other than make it look fancy. Now I'll remove the escape wheels bridge as well as the wheel itself. You'll notice the ratchet wheel is held in by this nut here. You can unscrew it with a pair of tweezers. Now I can remove the ratchet wheel. And if you're lucky like me, the click removes itself. The crown wheel is next. Both appear to be in good condition. Now I can remove the remaining bridge. Sometimes you'll come across different length screws in these older pocket watches, so it's important to remember where they go in order to maintain proper clearances. The gears themselves look good, but the clutch system has been tampered with beyond repair and will unfortunately need to be replaced. The mainspring is also set as I suspected, so it will be replaced. The second wheel doesn't have a safety pinion, so it's important to replace the mainspring with a new one, which will be less likely to break and cause damage to the gear train and the jewels. Here's the signature under the plate. Here's the cracked jewel I was talking about. It's been replaced, so now I'm going to check that the wheel spins freely and has proper end shake. Everything looks good there. This is the handmade clutch lever that was in the movement, and here's what was originally in its place. You can see how much higher the quality is in the original part. Needless to say, I'll be replacing that. You can also see the cob job that was done to the clutch. It even looks like they riveted the clutch wheel onto the pinion. It's always a shame to see original parts needlessly destroyed. Thankfully, I have the necessary parts to replace this as well. And here's the movement fully serviced. This is a bit of a conundrum to me, honestly. The amplitude is around 210 degrees dial up and around 160 to 170 in the vertical positions, but the watch keeps very good time regardless of that. All I can think is that this watch was just made to run like this, as I've gone through everything that could possibly lower amplitude. Here's dial up. And here's pendant up. And that's the watch completed. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have any input on what could be causing the low amplitude, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.